And just to confirm, Esme, everyone can see the chats, right? And everyone can see the Q&As, is that right?
Yes.
Well, it's 5 o'clock by my clock here, so we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Terry Leyba Reese. I proudly serve as president of Glendale Community College, and we are so thankful that you could join us this evening for an hour of conversation, an hour to get your questions answered, an hour for you to get to meet some of your college leadership team members, and for us to tell you how proud we are that you have chosen Glendale Community College to start your educational journey or to continue your journey or just as to come and take a class for fun. We are so proud to serve you as your college of choice. With me are a bunch of amazing people who are all here to support you. I'm going to let them introduce themselves very quickly, and then I'll give a quick welcome, and then you'll start answering some questions. But I will start by saying, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A, and then we will get to your questions. So let me start off by, I'm going to go around. So Vice President of Academic Affairs.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Scott Schultz. I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs, and I will be serving as our moderator for today's session. Good to see everybody.
Thank you. Dean Campbell.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dean Campbell, and I am the Dean of Academic Affairs for the Career and Technical Programs.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mal Gonzalez. I'm the Director of Facilities for the Glendale campus.
Kim Golis.
Hello, everyone. I am the Director of Business Services, and I oversee the auxiliary operations. So that's your cafeteria, bookstore, and copy center, and then also the Business Services office.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Carvajal. I'm the Senior Associate Vice President for our GCC North Campus. Welcome.
And our Vice President of Student Affairs.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monica Castañeda, and I'm the Vice President of Student Affairs here at Glendale Community College, and we welcome you this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us.
And with us are two very important people. They are our sign language interpreters. We have Dina Young and Molly Glosser, and we appreciate all their work. And behind the scenes is our host, Miss Esmeralda Acosta. Say hi, Esme. She makes sure that the president's office continues to run smoothly and keeps me out of hot water. I appreciate that. Students, we are so thankful that you are able to join us because we know that this has been an extremely difficult time for you and for all of us. So I'm going to take us back a little ways to March. And in March, when we learned that the new coronavirus that causes the disease, COVID-19, was starting to take off in Arizona, we had to make the difficult decision of what we thought was going to be a 2-week pause to the spring semester. And as cases continue to rise and the governor made the decision to order the shelter in place, that required us all to do this 180-degree pivot from face-to-face classes to online learning, from face-to-face working environments to remote working environments, just on a dime. We were able to make this transition. Excuse me. We know it was nothing that we all signed up for because we love our face-to-face classes and we love seeing our students. But in order to keep everybody safe and to follow the governor's directive, we made this transition, again, for what we thought would be just a couple of weeks. And so here we are now on July 1st, and we're still in this environment. And, you know, we scrambled to provide devices for our students if you needed them, to provide resources as you needed them, but we know that not all of those needs were met. And still, we continue to try to get those needs met every single day. Our faculty are working extremely hard this summer to continue to offer and create and change their classes to online environment, or there's different models, and we'll learn more about those in this hour together. But our faculty are working really hard. Our student affairs teams are working really hard as well, and our VP Castañeda can talk to us about some of the online technology tools that we've now implemented. So we continue to move forward because that is our commitment to you as a community college to here to help you on your educational journey. We are committed to you. We're also going to talk to you about some of the things that Mr. Gonzalez has been doing with his team and facilities department to prepare for your return in phases in the fall semester, and we are preparing for that. We'll talk more about that as well. But I think what we want to just make sure is that we hear from you, we answer your questions, we have a lot to share. And so every time I send an email out, please make sure you read it because there's lots of great information in there. Our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Mr. Scott Schultz, he's going to serve as our moderator. If you have questions, please be sure to put them in the Q&A feature. And if you would like, you can turn on your video so we can see your bright shining faces and you can get your questions answered. So let's go ahead and get started.
Great. Well, thank
Any
you.
questions?
Yes. So Terry, we already have questions in the chat feature. So thank you, students, for asking those questions. So the first question I am going to direct to Dean Campbell because it relates to nursing. What does the nursing program look like with regards to time in the lab, simulation, class, and clinicals?
That is a loaded question.
There's a lot of questions in that question, yes.
So in the nursing program, it will vary from course to course or block to block, but they are setting it up so that there will be a balance of time online, in class, and in simulation lab. And there will be some clinical time as well. That is still being worked out, but you'll definitely want to work with your instructor, find a class for what your schedule is going to be set up. The nursing department will provide a syllabus and they'll provide you with all of the details of where you're supposed to be when. We're still working out some of the testing, how the testing is going to be done, but essentially you will get a combination of all modalities, online, in person, in lab, in simulation.
Thank you. The next question is actually for Dr. Carvajal, please. What will hybrid or how will hybrid classes work? And will there be any in-person classes? So Lori, before you chime in, let me share a little bit about what our fall schedule will look like. And we've heard from our students that you really enjoy in-person classes. But we are also being very diligent in our safety protocols to make sure that it is safe for folks to return to campus. And so I want to just make it very clear that for the fall, the majority of our classes will be online, live online, which we'll talk about, hybrid and in-person classes. So essentially we have, I believe, about 10% of classes will be in person. And so those primarily will be in areas that require in-person instruction for accreditation. So you will see that in the nursing program. You will see that in the paramedic program and fire science program. And then some additional in-person classes will be, I believe, in our art area. So about 10% of our classes will be in person. So I just want to share that as we get started. But the majority of our classes will be live online and online. But then also we have a large percentage of our classes which are hybrid. So Dr. Carvajal, would you mind sharing a little bit about your perceptions of what a hybrid class looks like?
Sure. So hybrid class is actually going to be using two different types of modes of learning. So one mode is going to be online, and then the other mode of learning is going to be scheduled specifically at specific times during the day. And in this case, as scheduled for hybrid, that might require you to come on campus. But it's not going to be a significant amount of time, as most of the content will be online. So a hybrid class is going to ask the student to do two pieces. One, learn online, but then also have components where they're going to be coming onto campus. Or they may have scheduled times where they're going to have to log in, kind of like what we're doing now, in order to learn some of the content. So a hybrid is exactly how it's designed. It's going to be looking at two different pieces. It's actually, we've been offering hybrids at GCC. So hybrid is not a new version of learning. It's stuff that we've already been offering. And to our VPAAs, his comments about hybrids and online, or I'm sorry, hybrids and in-persons. We're not going to be offering as many of those as we would online or live online.
Thank you. The next question is related to tutoring. And so Dr. Campbell, I know that you've been working with the tutoring area. Will there be tutors or help with English classes, even though they are online? So let me, before I turn it over to Dr. Campbell, and then I'll ask VP Castaneda for comments too about services that are available. So I just want everybody to know that we are in business. We are here helping you online currently. So even though we may not physically be at campus, essentially every service that we've been able to offer on campus, we've transitioned to online. There may be a few that aren't, but for the most part, if you should be getting the same services that if you came onto campus. And so again, I'll ask VP Castaneda to talk more about services. But Dean Campbell, can you talk a little bit more about tutoring and what tutoring may look like in the fall?
So we will have tutoring available. It is currently on now. We are doing remote tutoring, which has been working very well for our students. We have a product, BrainFuse, that Dean or VP Castaneda can probably speak more directly about, but we have remote tutoring that's taking place through our testing center, through our STEM facility. You'll also have in the English area, they have the writing center, which will have remote tutoring available as well. Your instructor will have office hours, so you can arrange to talk with your instructor depending on what it is that you're needing help with your English type of classes. But yes, you'll have online, and we're also going to have through the tutoring center and through our STEM center, we're going to have appointments so that they can tutor one-on-one in situations where you do want to have that live interaction. So we will have that available as well.
Great, thank you. VP Castaneda, do you want to talk a little bit more about the services that are available and perhaps Cranium Cafe as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the goal for GCC is, you have a choice to pick any Maricopa College and any other college in the West Valley, but we're happy that you chose GCC. And what we're hoping to do is to continue to provide the services that we are already providing to you remotely, but as well as to be able to provide some services in person. So I'm happy to share that our enrollment center will be open and providing services, as well as our student union. We've heard from many of you and many in our community that we recognize that access to Wi-Fi is super important in order for you to be successful. So we want to open our student union so you can come in from the heat and be able to access our college Wi-Fi. And then of course, the services in the enrollment center that are important to you, like financial aid and the advisors, as well as admissions and records. So those of you who also need services in terms of, accommodations, our Disability Resource Office is also going to be providing appointments and in-person services. And so as Dr. Reese and our deans and our executive team have mentioned, we want to continue to support you be successful at GCC. So we have those available to you. And then the exciting thing is that once we knew we were going to have to provide services remotely, our IT team at the district office and at Glendale was super helpful in helping us obtain Cranium Cafe, which is a software so that you can chat with us and chat with our departments. And we launched Cranium Cafe last week, and when you go to our website right now, you can be directed to the link to chat with us. So if you don't necessarily want to get in your car and drive to the campus and you want to continue to have your services provided to you remotely, we're using Cranium Cafe, the software for those, as well as opening up services in August so that you individuals who particularly appreciate FaceTime with your advisors, that you could come in to our enrollment center. As Dr. Reese mentioned, our facilities team have plexiglass up, and we have 6 feet social distancing. We do ask gauchos to wear a mask, but we're going to be here to support you. And we are going to be providing services, as everyone has mentioned. So we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful at GCC.
Great. Thank you. Dr. Reese, do you want to comment or talk a little bit more about the facial coverings?
Yes, thank you. So, we care very much about your health and safety. And one of the things that's required when you come onto campus, as you see these signs if you're out and about, is mask up, right? So whether it's a facial covering. So we want to either you have your own mask of any kind, or we have some we can provide for you. Listen, it's a nice logo. It says GCC Cares because GCC cares about you and your health and safety. So first and foremost, when you come onto campus, everybody must wear a mask. All of our students, all of our employees. We have hand sanitizers out available for you. We have cleaning supplies ready. So this is a big thank you to Mr. Gonzalez and his team who have made sure to order plenty of supplies for you. So mask up, gauchos.
Thank you. So another question that came in, and so I will address it first, and then I will ask Dr. Carbajal to comment on this one as well. We've had many students ask this question. I have no experience taking classes online, so I need to know if GCC will provide support and how to take classes online. So I definitely empathize with that question. I think a lot of our students really like the in-person classes. But I will also share that I'm also somebody who really enjoys in-person classes, but I've been taking classes online over the past period of time, 6 months or so. And it is something that initially I was a little bit nervous about, but once you get into the flow of it, it's really a great opportunity to learn on your own time. And so we do have online a quick assessment to kind of help you assess whether you're right for online learning. But I would also say that we have our faculty are going to work with you as well. So I think I just answered that question, so I'm not going to turn it over to Dr. Carbajal, but we do have support available. And I would encourage you not to let your academic dreams take a hiatus during this time, that we really do want you to continue on with your education, whether it's online, live online, or hybrid as well. So we have lots of questions coming in, and the next question relates to student clubs. Will clubs be available to have meetings? For example, things like PTK, Honor Society, will there still be able to have weekly meetings? And so VP Castaneda, do you want to address that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, we still do have clubs and organizations. If you don't know this, we are really lucky at Glendale because we're one of the colleges in the system that has the most clubs. So we have about 52 clubs and student organizations, and the meetings and the availability of how active each club is really up to the students and their respective advisor. And so any questions regarding those specifics, we welcome you to please direct to your advisor and or to Ms. Connie Greenwell, who's our Director of Student Life and Leadership. So yes, absolutely. Clubs and organizations are important to student life and engagement. It helps students persist and continue. And all of you do so much good work for the college that we want you to continue that work, but of course modifying accordingly and keeping everyone safe. So the meeting times and those types of things will vary depending on the availability of students as well as the advisors. So we welcome you to send an email out to your advisor. And if you don't know who your advisor is, if you visit our website, all of the list of the clubs and the contacts for those clubs are on the website.
Great, thank you. And so that actually addressed another question, is if a student wants to know what classes they need to take, they need to meet with one of their academic advisors, as VP Castaneda just mentioned. Another question for you, Monica, is the campus open now so we can obtain a consortium agreement for our university school?
The campus is not open now currently. If you go to your student center, on the right-hand side of your student center, underneath program advisor assignment, you will see the name of your program advisor. And if you use Premium Cafe, you're able to locate that advisor to obtain a consortium agreement, or that's one way of doing it. The other option is you can get in the queue list line for financial aid, and they also can provide you a consortium agreement. And actually, I do believe that that probably is a form that's available online. But again, our services are open and offered to our students, just not in person at the building. So I invite you to chat one of the financial aid techs or an advisor using Cranium Cafe on our website, and you should be able to obtain the forms that you need for your agreement.
Great, thank you. Dean Campbell, the next question relates to photography. So do you know how will photography classes be offered in this coming semester?
So we have a couple different types of photography classes. The digital photography, they're doing in live and live online format. And with live online, what the instructor can do is they are actually giving you a live demonstration, kind of like you're experiencing here, where you can see them, they can demonstrate what they're working on. You can interact. Some faculty will be working where you ask questions through the chat. Some will actually have you where you can speak and ask your questions live with the class. So you are interacting with the instructor, with the students. But something such as digital photography, they're doing it in an live online format. Something such as portrait photography, a different style of photography, that's being done in a hybrid format. So some of it will be done in an online mode, and then some of it will be done on campus where you're working in the lab and working with the equipment there. And there's a bunch of questions that are similar that asking about other classes. Where can I work with chemicals? Will there be an anatomy class? So there are, in several different areas, there will be hybrid type of formats, because we know the importance of you being able to come in and use the equipment or use the chemicals. And so they will be setting up hybrid formats. If we stay in the art area, ceramics, jewelry making, some of those classes, you have to be in to use the equipment. The nursing, you've got to be in for the simulation labs. So we do have a mix of hybrid courses where some of it may be online and you're watching the rest of the class do some of their scenarios, and some of it will be you're in the classroom and actually working with that equipment. So definitely look at Find a Class to see what the formats are, or talk with the advisors to make sure you're getting the right class.
Good, thank you. Let's see, there's Dr. Reese, there's a question about budget cuts. I know that because of COVID-19, I know there will be budget cuts. What are some budget cuts that would affect GCC? Also, would financial aid be cut because of COVID-19? So I will start with Dr. Reese and then maybe turn it over to VP Castaneda as well.
Sure. I appreciate the question on budget, because as your president, something that I'm always very conscious and aware, and we have an amazing team who's going to make sure that we are always within our budget. Here's one of the good news about community colleges, which is very different from the state universities. The funding model for community colleges is different than the funding model for the state. Community colleges are funded through property taxes, primarily from home ownership and from property taxes. So approximately 75% of our budget comes from property taxes, whereas for the universities, the majority of their funding comes from the state budget. So very different model. So right now, the community colleges in Maricopa, we feel we're pretty stable because property taxes are stable. And so therefore, we're not worried right now about having to cut budgets. Financial aid is a different issue because that comes from the federal government. And the federal government has been extremely supportive of higher education through the form of the Higher Education Relief Emergency, what is that? Monica, help me out here. Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. For CARES Act. Some of you may have benefited from some of those resources. I'll let Monica, VP Castaneda, speak more about financial aid, but in terms of the budget for GCC, right now we are not looking at budget cuts, which is pretty phenomenal in this day and age. We've been able to keep care of all of our employees and also maintain all of our programs. VP Castaneda?
Yeah, I want to highlight three separate points regarding financial resources for students. So the first point is that if you don't know already, we've got some great news to share. Our governing board and our executive team at the district level have been very supportive in helping students reduce the cost of their education. And so very soon here, you're going to be able to enroll at 15 credit hours at the same rate as a full-time student. So you are going to see a benefit of being able to come to GCC and take more classes and finish quicker if you continue to pursue a full-time enrollment. So that's the first benefit, is that it's actually beneficial to be able to do that and complete your degree. So we're very happy about the board voting on that and supporting our students. The second item is that a lot of times students know about financial aid and maybe sometimes make the assumption that they wouldn't qualify because they have a job or because their parents might make too much money, and so I'm not going to apply because I'm not going to get it. But that's actually not true. That's I'm going to do this is a Mythbusters opportunity for me, because that's really not the case. The important part about applying for financial aid is that it lets the institution know of your financial needs, and then it helps us to help you obtain other resources like private scholarships and private donors who want to help you succeed. And so when we invite you to visit our financial aid website and we ask you to please fill out the FAFSA, we also want you to look and click around to the scholarship opportunities that we have, because a lot of times there's so many dollars that go unspent, and we know that you need them for your education. So we never want your apprehension about paying for college to be the reason why you don't come to college, because we have a lot of resources and we have people who are willing to help you obtain other resources to complete your degree. And we want to make sure that you take advantage of those. So oftentimes people think of financial aid as just the federal dollars, but that's not the case. It is the majority of federal dollars that we get to help our students with. But there's so many generous people in our community that are donors as part of our scholarship programs, and they want to help you be successful. So we want you to visit our website and work with our team and share with them that you need help, financial help, in order to complete your degree. Our goal is to make sure you achieve your goal, whether that's a degree or certificate or transfer. And so we invite you to do that. And we don't want to, like we said before, that to hinder your ability to pursue your education.
Good, thank you. There's a lot of questions about what type of format, as Dr. Campbell said in the chat right now. And so I just want to remind our students that if you go to find a class, you will be able to actually sort and look at what classes are live online, hybrid, or in person. So there's questions about anatomy and physiology and some others. So if you go to find a class, our schedule is now live, and so we really want you to take a look, and you will see those definitions and what the classes will look like in Find a Class. Dr. Reese, there's a question about athletics. What is going to happen with fall sports?
So fall sports, it's when we look at what's happening with the number of cases, Arizona is #1 in the country, which is extremely frightening. And our first priority has been and will always be the health and safety of our students and our employees and the community we serve. The coaches and the athletic directors and all of the presidents are all in agreement on this. And we are making a recommendation to the chancellor. He's an interim chancellor, Dr. Stephen Gonzalez. A quick little insight about the Maricopa system. So Glendale Community College is one of 10 colleges in our system. As your president, I report to a chancellor, and the chancellor right now, the interim chancellor, is Dr. Stephen Gonzalez. And so we have all made a recommendation that we do not allow fall sports competition for fall sports. So this would be men's and women's basketball, volleyball. Now, I want to remind you, this is simply a recommendation we are making. The chancellor is going to hold some listening sessions next week, and he's gathering input from all of the stakeholders so that we can make an informed decision. But I will tell you, as your president, I truly am worried about the safety of our students. And I'm going to back up a minute. We said that when you come onto campus, everybody's going to need to wear a mask, and there's going to be social distancing, 6 feet. The classrooms have all been rearranged. Computer commons have been rearranged. The student union has been rearranged to accommodate you on our campus in a safe and healthy way. And we cannot guarantee that for our student athletes. So in this extreme time, Arizona being #1 in the country, we are recommending that there not be any fall competitions, any fall sports. However, we know that a lot can happen in the next few months, and so our recommendation also includes that we reevaluate later in the fall, October, November-ish, so that we can make a decision about spring sports. So to answer your question, because I know I am so impressed by our student athletes, because you are balancing a lot. You're committed to your sport, to your team, and you're committed to your athletics. And we track our student athletes and their GPA, and we're very proud that GCC student athletes are extremely committed to their academics and have very high GPAs. But you also want to play your sport. And for right now, we are saying our recommendation is no to fall sports, but we'll be reevaluating that for spring sports. So Samantha, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. So there's another question that says, how will audio engineering degree work with online classes? And so I know this one, that Dr. Essler and Mr. Schmidt and Dr. Nottingham are all looking at various online technology to really continue the audio engineering classes. We've seen some great things that our students have been able to do, even in the remote world, where they were able to put pieces together and really do some amazing things. And so I think what you will see with the audio engineering is it'll be a kind of a combination of hybrid and a lot of using virtual technology as well. Another question is, can a student set up an appointment on the gccaz.edu website to speak with an academic advisor? So yes, you can. So when you first log in, you will see a link that says chat with us, I believe it says, and that will take you to the path of meeting with an academic advisor. So yes, please, they are waiting for you all to reach out to them, so please do. I'm not seeing any additional questions at this time, but I do want to go to Ms. Golis, please. And if you could talk a little bit about what the auxiliary services that you mentioned earlier. So when you talked about the cafeteria and perhaps the bookstore, can you tell our students a little bit more what to expect from the cafeteria and bookstore?
Yes, so the Palms Cafe, which is in the Student Union, that will be open with limited hours and a limited menu. They're looking to open on August 24th when classes start. So if you are on campus during that time, they'll be open. They'll have grab and go items, so there won't be any custom orders or the salad bar. It'll just be prepackaged items that you can grab and go. The grill will be open, and again, those will be grab and go items, no custom orders. The snacks will be there. We will not have the fountain drinks or like the iced tea or coffee. Silverware will be prepackaged, wrapped in the napkin, so everything will be something you can grab and go. The Gaucho Cafe in the LS building will not be open. Grounds for Thought, we're looking to have that as a breakfast facility, kind of. They'll have sandwiches and breakfast burritos, and then your coffee and tea. They will also have limited hours and be more in the morning. So that's, and then we of course have the vending machines. Those will be restocked. The bookstore right now, the plan is still for online ordering, but they are looking to set up like a curbside drop-off pickup service. We are still looking at possibly opening for in-person services at the bookstore, but we don't have that finalized yet. So I don't know how that's going to look for sure, but we will definitely work on the curbside pickup drop off.
Good. Let me see here. There's a question related to, due to the changes of in-person classes to online classes, will students have the option of a PZ grades this fall 2020 semester, or will it continue to be letter grades only? Dr. Campbell, would you like to tackle that, or would you like me to?
My understanding is that was a spring only option. So we will be back to the letter grade type of grading for the fall semester.
Yeah. And so just as a follow-up to that too, the PZ grades have been part of our grading system for many years within the Maricopa Community Colleges. And so some of your faculty still may provide you with that option of a P or Z, but it will not be the same as what we did in the spring, where we changed it very quickly to letter grade to P or Z. So as Dr. Campbell said, the PZ, for the big push for the PZ was in the spring only. In the fall, it will not be a large percentage of our grades, but individual faculty may still assign P or Z grades. And that will be listed in the syllabus. Again, I had seen some questions about how do you look at whether where our classes are or what will be online. Please remember to go to Find a Class on our GCC website. So you just go to gccaz.edu, and I believe it's in the, you can type in Find a Class, and that will show you exactly what classes are available in the fall and in what format they will be in. So all of that information is at Find a Class right off the GCC homepage.
And I'd like to add that students also remember that you check your student center, because if something changes between the time that you enroll to the time that the class begins, that information will be communicated through your student center. So the two best places to go that have the most up-to-date information is, as VP Schultz mentioned, the Find a Class, but also to please remember to visit your student center and be able to see any up-to-date information there.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I believe this next question is for Dr. Campbell. Is any work experience for the field that we are interested in still suspended? What are the community colleges are going to do about field experience if we are still unable to get that field experience that they need to graduate?
So field experience is a little challenging, and it does depend on which industry you're looking at. We would love to be able to say, hey, we're back to 100% of those field experience classes, but not all companies are at this time taking interns and offering field experience opportunities. So it depends really on the particular industry and the class that you're taking. We are working on those field internship type classes for the automotive department, the nursing, the EMT, the paramedicine. I know there's many other areas where there is field experience, but it is as we have companies that are willing and able to take you, and we want to make sure that it is a safe experience. So we need them to follow the same safety policies that we're following at Glendale.
Good. Thank you. Another question came in, and sorry, when can we expect our classes to be open in Canvas? So I believe that's going to be an individual instructor decision, correct? Dr. Campbell, can you or Dr. Carvajal elaborate on that?
I know we've asked our faculty to have their Canvas courses open a week prior to the start of classes. Some faculty may have it available sooner than that. It would be based on the particular faculty member and course.
Great, thank you. Bear with me. Vice President Castaneda, what about new student orientations that were scheduled to be done on campus?
So we'll continue to have new student orientations done in Canvas, and the modality of the in-person ones will be transformed to an online experience. So you can expect all the same information and the same feel and resources that are available to you as a new student, with the exception that they will not be in person. Discussions for the NSOs in the spring are still being had. And as we mentioned, all of us remain flexible, and we would like to hold in-person orientations, but given the current CDC restrictions and guidelines around no more than 10 people in some spaces, that would be a little bit challenging. So please, again, check your student center. If there's changes to that NSO, whether it's available to you, or if you see it come off of your schedule, then again, we want you to make sure you chat us and make sure that you attend that orientation. It's so important for you to know how many resources GCC has to offer you. So thank you for participating in that.
And I will also add that we have two honors directors, Michael Strong and Jeff Sanger, who are completing new interactive honors orientations that you will be seeing very soon if you're an honors student in the campus, in Canvas. And they will also be reaching out to you soon to make sure that you get enrolled in that class. I'm looking at our questions, and I think we've answered many of them. I think all of them, actually. I think we were remiss, and Dr. Reese mentioned about all the steps that the campus has taken to keep it safe. But I do want to turn it over to our Director of Facilities, Al Gonzalez, just to chat a little bit more about the safety precautions and perhaps some of the signage that students can expect to see moving forward.
Hello again, and we go back to March when we went on spring break, and as Dr. Reese had mentioned, the return day got pushed back in little segments of time, 2 weeks at a time. So what we were doing all that time was disinfecting all spaces, whether it's a classroom or gathering areas where students might study together or just study on their own or have meals, things like that. And so we went and disinfected every room, every space that GCC has. And so following that, again, with the return date being pushed back, we started buying equipment that we thought would be necessary in order to do better disinfecting. And so once we got the equipment in, we started learning how to use it, how to best use it, and then we started teaching our staff how to use it, so that we can get a complete disinfection and again make places safe. Along that same time, we were researching and buying supplies, and everybody was doing the same thing. So it got to be a little bit of a challenge to locate some of these things, just because every other university and college was doing the same thing. We were competing against all the K through 12 for the same products. And so it became a little bit of a challenge to find these, but we finally made some headway, and then we started stockpiling. And so what we didn't want to do is to open up the college only to have it closed down because we couldn't keep it disinfected and create that safe environment. And so we've done that, and we created boxes that we were placing in classrooms and employee areas so that we could do spot disinfection. We put teams together that would be doing touch pointed disinfections, and then purging our buildings out of. We purge those buildings out every day of the air that's inside of it. Push it out, and then bring fresh air, and then recondition it as much as possible. So that was what we were doing to keep students safe. And at the same time, we were painting buildings, we were replacing HVAC systems, we were doing all the other stuff that we could squeeze in while the classrooms were closed and while the buildings were unoccupied. So it's been, we didn't take a day off. We didn't work from home. Because the work that we do here, we feel is too important to take time off from, and there was too much at stake to just let it go and then wait for somebody to say, hey, they're coming back now, and then we rush to do it. Well, and in my life, it's you stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And so that's what we were doing, is just making sure that the classrooms, if they say, hey, we're going to open up in a month, we were ready now. You know, you can open up early if you want. And that's where we are right now. And so we're creating those social distancing spaces. We're marking spaces to make sure that the people maintain that distance from each other. At the same time, not trying to take away from that student experience. So that's what we've been doing. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Al. There's another, let's see. Samantha, you asked a great question. And so will someone help direct us to our in-person classes if we're new to our campus? And so, yes, we will definitely direct you. So if you look at your student center, it will have where the classes are located. So you can actually kind of take a look at the map and see where your classes will be located. But on our first day of classes, we typically have welcome stations. And so where students that need help finding materials or their classes, we can help guide them. So you will not be alone on day one when you step out of your car. Once you walk onto campus, there will be folks to help guide you to where you need to go. Another question came up about, and Dr. Campbell, you and I just had a conversation about our fitness classes. So can we chat a little bit more about what our fitness classes may look like in the fall? Before I turn it over to Dr. Campbell, I will say this is perhaps one of our most challenging areas to really figure out what the right modality or teaching is, because so much it requires it to be online. But I will say our faculty have been incredibly creative. But please keep in mind that this is one of those areas that we're going to have to continue to monitor as we get closer to school. So Dr. Campbell, do you want to add anything to that?
Just our faculty have been extremely creative in wonderful opportunities. So some of the classes are live online and they're providing great videos and activities. They're very energetic. They're very helpful in instructing. They can also have a webcam set up in your area so they can see how you're performing an exercise and help give guidance. We've been talking about, once it cools off, possibly having some classes held outside so that we can have social distancing, we can have fresh air. Obviously, we are watching very closely the mandates from Governor Ducey, and that will have an impact on how some of those classes look in the fall.
Yep. Mr. Gonzalez, do you mind just sharing a little bit about, like you said, you want to stay ready. And so early on in this process, you had gone, or you and your staff had gone to each one of our classrooms to kind of assess the max occupancy. Do you mind just sharing a little bit about that process?
Sure. What we did is we took the room the way it was laid out and then tried to figure out how many desks we could keep in there and still maintain that social distance. And so rooms that might have once sat 32 or 24 or 32 students, then the reduction was almost in half in order to still provide some accessibility around students that the instructor could get around, or students could get around if they needed to get up for whatever reason. And then we still wanted to make sure that we kept that 6-foot distance, and we did that to all spaces, not just classrooms, but common study rooms. And so what you'll find is that a lot of rooms, you aren't going to be able to have as many in your group as you might have had prior to the COVID pandemic. But those areas are still going to be available to you. You'll just have to work in a smaller study room. The high-tech centers, like Dr. Reese said earlier, we did some rearranging, placed some seating barriers so to let you know that, hey, in order to maintain that social distance, you need to not use this particular station, and then that keeps you apart from the other person who is not next to you but in proximity to you, and so that you will both be safe from each other, right? I mean, that's what we're talking. That's what social distancing is all about, is to try and reduce the chances of getting the infection. So we do a lot of sanitizing every day. We have teams that are going around sanitizing. We have sanitizer at each building. We have sanitizer for your pocket, for your purse, for whatever backpack, wherever you want to have it. We have some for you. As Dr. Reese mentioned earlier, we have masks. We have all kinds of masks, whether it's one with a logo that was ordered for our students, some that don't have a logo, and we also have some disposable if there's somebody who forgot theirs. These masks are located in the classrooms. They're located in the employee common areas, and so there's no reason to be reluctant about not wearing a mask or not coming because you don't have a mask. We'll get you one, and we'll continue to provide them. If yours gets damaged, gets soiled, gets whatever, we'll have something there for you. And so we've taken a lot of steps to try and make it as safe as possible by the distancing thing, and then the supply thing, the hand sanitizer, whatever it takes. I mean, it'll be good. Just come on, check it out.
Come on down. Thank you, Al. So as a follow-up question, will the gym be open on campus? Does any of the panelists want to address that question? So I think that may be an area that we need to talk further about. At this point, given the limited number of students that we have on campus, I don't necessarily anticipate the gym being open unless it's for a class. Does anybody else want to comment on that?
I can comment on that. The concern around public spaces for community members or for others is that part of our obligation as an institution is to maintain that everyone is practicing safety measures like social distancing and wearing of the masks. And so if you have a space that you open, then we have to be able to staff it accordingly with the personnel from our team. And so given our staffing challenges, it would require that. So if we decide that we would open it, we just have to make sure that we are able to staff it appropriately, much like we're doing in the student union, so that there's someone there to support students, but also make sure that we maintain a safe environment for everyone. But I agree, Scott, we probably should discuss that particular one, and just specifically because that hasn't come up. The tennis courts have come up, and walking the track has come up, but not necessarily the gym. So we should definitely.
Thank you.
I can say we have some classes in the gym, such as volleyball and basketball, and those particular classes will not be run in the fall for safety purposes.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad to see we have many incoming freshmen on our chat today, so thank you all for joining us. One of the questions was, what type of clubs are available to incoming freshmen? And so I believe Esmeralda posted a link to in the comments section earlier with a link to where our student clubs are. We have dozens and dozens of clubs, and so if you have an interest in engineering or sustainability or pretty much any interest under the sun, we do have a club for it. And so I do encourage you to get involved. And as I believe VP Castaneda said, many of those meetings are going to continue on in the fall, and they're going to be online. And so we're going to continue on with those clubs, okay? I'm not seeing any other questions at this point, and we have about 8 minutes. Any other questions that we can answer for you at this point?
Scott, did you want to ask about the live online? Okay.
Thank you, Lori. So one of the questions was, for live online classes, is it just one-on-one with the professor, or is it with the whole class, and how will live online classes work?
Be nice if I unmuted myself, right? So that happens. That's a really good question, because live online is a new term that we haven't seen before, and it has basically evolved as a way for us and for faculty to try to figure out how we can get students information and how we can help them learn in as close of an in-person experience as possible. So the best way to describe a live online class is actually exactly what you're doing right now. So you received an email from our president that said, come join us today at 5 p.m. and you logged in And when you logged in, you had a chance to see all of us as panelists. You're being able to interact with us in the chat and in the Q&A. And of course, you have the option to unmute yourself. And so Live Online is going to function very similar to how we're actually doing this right now. The only difference might be that your instructor might post what you'll see instead of us would be maybe a PowerPoint or an activity. And so you'll get the opportunity to talk as well as exchange information and then look at a screen with maybe like a PowerPoint type of experience. The other piece about that question, is it just one-on-one or with the whole class? A Live Online is going to be with everybody. So if you sign up for a Live Online class, it will say a specific date and time that you'll have to log in. And when you do that, just like everybody else in the class, you'll see everybody plus your instructor. So it is not one-on-one learning. It is really learning with the whole class and your professor.
Thank you for that.
I can add to this, just because I'm really excited about what I have seen over the last 3 months as I have meetings for members from across the nation. When we have these virtual meetings, you can actually create these little rooms, and you go into a virtual room and you can work in small groups, just like you would do in the classroom, face to face with all of your classmates and your teacher. When your instructor says, okay, you 4 get together and discuss this. You can still do that in this kind of online environment. And I think that speaks to the power of the technology and how it has evolved, how it continues to evolve, so that we can continue teaching in dynamic ways that allow you to continue to learn and move forward. I'm excited about Live Online. It makes me want to sign up for a class or teach a class, right?
Great, thank you. I think we have a few more minutes, and there's one more question, and then I'll just ask everybody to maybe provide some finishing comments. And it relates to having a mask. So where would I be able to get a mask once I get to campus? So I think as Director Gonzalez mentioned earlier, is that each of our areas will have a supply of masks. So when you come into the enrollment center or get close to the enrollment center, we'll have masks. Of course, we would like, if you have a mask already, to please bring it. But if not, definitely we can provide it at various points on campus. What if, and I'm going to read the question, and then whoever would like to answer it, go for it, is what if you need more assistance in the time the class is live? I think it will be more difficult for everyone to get their questions answered during the class time and still have instructions. So the question again, what if you need more assistance than the time the class is live? And I would say that's going to be exactly the same as if you were in person, right? You would hang out after class with the instructor. You would reach out to the instructor via email or phone call. You'd meet them during their office hours. And so it really will be the same amount. You still will have the same venue and opportunities to chat with your professors. And I think that's really what sets GCC apart from other places, is that I think our faculty want to work and connect with the students during the office hours, because they realize that, you know, a 50-minute class period, you may have more questions. So definitely reach out to your instructor. You know, some instructors may set up study groups. Some instructors, like I said, will definitely welcome you into their office hours, all of our office hours. So that we still will have that support available for you if you have questions about your courses. Okay. So 2 things. So there's a question about what does hybrid virtual mean versus hybrid. So at Glendale Community College, we will only be offering hybrid, which is essentially the same as hybrid virtual. It's just a different name that other colleges have used. So essentially a hybrid is a hybrid. And so you will see at GCC, our classes will be listed as hybrid, which again is a combination of in-person and online. Dr. Carvajal, I have one other question for you. How will class assignments be done with online learning?
Thank you for asking me the question about online assignments. Let me just also make a quick comment about the hybrid virtual. our schedule is still being updated. So if you happen to see the hybrid virtual, please continue to check your student center, because it is likely that some things are going to still be changing. And so you'll need to be looking at that message. So I just wanted, sorry, I wanted to add that, Scott.
No.
As far as the online assignments go, so faculty have been working really creatively to come up with ways that they can do assignments online. So some things for some types of assignments might be similar to like a handout, or a faculty might put a link into a document that is more like watch a video, and then you might have to respond to some questions. Other assignments may be where you might be paired with another student in a class and asked to complete an activity in like Google Documents. So you're working in the document together. So when you're working in assignments in online classes, there are so many more opportunities to learn and to demonstrate what you're learning, that it's actually open to just about anything. So it's a really creative opportunity for you as a student to help show your faculty what you're learning.
So as a follow-up question, can you still get help if you have an online class? And so yes. So even in this technology-driven world where you think that maybe somebody isn't sitting on the end of the computer, we do have, every one of our classes has a faculty member that is there to support you. So it doesn't matter whether it's in person or hybrid or live online or online. That's what our faculty want to do, is they want to be available to help you. And so, typically in an online course, you will be using Canvas. And so the faculty have a variety of resources built into Canvas. So again, our faculty are here to help and support your learning. And so whatever modality that you choose, you are going to get the same support from our faculty and our staff as you would in an in-person class, okay? As a follow-up to that, can you still email your professor? Yes, our professors want to hear from you. They like to hear from our students. And so please, if you have a question or a concern, please reach out to your faculty via email. And I'm assuming many of them, and I'm not sure what format they're going to use, but they're going to be doing Zoom office hours or Google Meet office hours or WebEx office hours, so they will still be available. Our faculty are anxious to get back to teaching our students, and so definitely they will be available to support you in your efforts moving forward. Another question came in related to get laptops when they are available. So are we able to get laptops when available with all the software that we need on the laptop? So I know that's Dr. Campbell, I know that we've done that in the past, and I believe we're going to be doing it again for specialty areas. So I believe we've done that in the past for digital media arts. And so you will be seeing communication from the college very shortly about what the loan or the checkout process will look like for laptops and Chromebooks moving forward. We're still working on some of the software components because of licensing agreements and things like that, but we're continuing to work through those. But again, I will say that we will have some laptops or Chromebooks available. And then also, as Dr. Reese and others mentioned on this call, we will have lab spaces open as well, following all the requirements. So if you need to come into campus to do some work on Adobe, that we will have it available. So our labs will be open. With that, I do not see any other questions. I want to, in the interest of time, I guess it's 6:02. So rather than each of our panelists saying anything, I will turn it over to Dr. Reese for final comments. And thanks again, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody. There was a question about, is this being recorded? And I believe it is. And if it is, then our host, Esmeralda Acosta, will work with our marketing team to make sure we get that out, probably a link through our website. This is unprecedented times. When we think of just a few months ago, how different our life has been for all of us, and you think about how you have had to adapt to this new learning environment, you are actually being tested for one of the 21st century skills that employers are saying they want in all of their employees, and that's to be flexible and adaptable and to be problem solvers. And if nothing else, since March, you have all shown how flexible and adaptable you are and how you've been creatively problem solving and navigating your way through this pandemic. So it's been difficult, but you should be very proud of yourselves, and you can all put that on your resume that you are flexible and adaptable, and know that we are here to help you. We are very proud to serve as educators in the community college at Glendale Community College, and we are here to help you. You are not alone. All right. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us this evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Have a good evening.